Good evening, Grand Rapids, and welcome to NewsFlash. I'm your anchor, Keely.
And I'm your other anchor, Gwen. And because we maybe didn't get enough girl power at Last Laugh this weekend, we've got all the world, national, and local news you may have missed. This is NewsFlash.
All right, our top story tonight. The big news last week was number 45 3/4 took his first overseas trip of his second term to the Middle East. And wouldn't you know it, there was some scandal involved, shocker. One of the countries he visited, Qatar, gifted Trump with a $400 million plane to be kept by his library even after he leaves office for personal or professional use, which may or may not be legal, but when has that ever stopped this guy?
And even conservatives are upset about this, so you know it's really bad. Mm-hmm. Trump clearly has never had to take an ethics quiz for his job. I did do one of those recently, and they don't even let you take Subway gift cards. So if you're listening, Donnie, and we know he isn't, but maybe somebody from ICE is, here's a modified version of that.
All right, scenario one. In order to put another pause on your tariffs, China offers you a lavish meal and an opportunity to name part of the Great Wall the Trump Wall. Should you turn this down?
Instead of agreeing to peace negotiations with Ukraine, Russia invites you to an all-inclusive spa, including a mud bath and a couple's massage with Putin. Is this unethical and gross to think about?
All right, our last scenario three. In exchange for lifting sanctions, North Korea has agreed to decorate one of their nuclear missiles so it looks like it's coming out of your pants and that you have like a really big pee-pee. Is this weird? The answer to all of these questions is yes. So hopefully this helped you out, DJ T. I'm sure we'll never have to worry about your incredibly fragile ego again.
Former FBI Chief Comey is under investigation for posting a photo of seashells spelling out the number 8647. People are saying it's a threat against the president. 86, throw someone out. 47, Donald Trump. Well, we think maybe he should have chosen a different number. 2319, decontaminate everyone who has come into contact with the orange-faced monster.
All right, Austria won Eurovision this year, and it's official. Europeans love lighthouses. It was a down-to-the-wire match with Israel taking second place with a suspicious jump in audience votes, despite many protesters and boos that were edited out of the broadcast. And Estonia at number 3 with the second most obnoxious song about espressos in the past year.
Despite not participating in the contest, you could argue that the Americans were the real winners, since we as a society didn't have to watch weird Swedish techno songs about saunas for a week. And instead, we get to watch our society crumble and be grateful it isn't sung over a techno beat.
All right, a Mexican Navy sailboat crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge when a mechanical failure caused the ship to lose control, which did unfortunately injure 19 of the 277 passengers. Officials report that sadly neither the bridge nor the sailboat contained any candy.
Either way, it looks like someone's quinceañera is ruined. As a means of expressing sympathy to those injured, Mayor Eric Adams has offered to rename the Bridge of Mexico.
And the ship was reportedly on its way to Iceland, which means that Mexico must have caught wind of their Eurovision entry and decided to launch an attack.
Pope Leo is settling into his new role this week. In his first days, he denounced AI, preached in Latin, entertained his biological brothers on a visit to Rome, and completed all the other normal Pope tasks. It really makes sense that he got right to work, as he is the second ever confirmed Virgo Pope. And to celebrate the first Chicago Pope, Mayor Brandon Johnson declared that the city will dye the Chicago River with holy water this year.
Woo! And actually, it turns out that the new Pope has Michigan roots. Yeah, come on, Pope. Apparently, even men of the cloth feel the need to move from West Michigan to Chicago just to feel accomplished. The Pope attended high school at St. Augustine Seminary High School, which is now known as the Felt Estate over in Holland, which means if Nicole Kidman finds out we might get Holland Part 2, Holy Windmill, this time we filmed 2 scenes on location.
NBA player Russell Westbrook has launched a funeral planning startup, which means that every cadaver will be fitted with an oversized tuxedo like they're waiting for the 2008 NBA draft. Service options will include open casket, back shot, layup, floater, nothing but net, and of course, the granny shot.
Jesus. Whew, that was a good one. With Pride just around the corner, we're getting this nonsense out of the way right now, everybody. Listen up. A local restaurant owner in Boise, Idaho, is organizing the 2nd annual Hetero Awesome Fest for mid-June. Everything about this story screams 2 on the nose. First off, this photo. This guy's name is Mark Fitzpatrick. His restaurant is the Old State Saloon, and also the fact that it's literally in Idaho. And also the fact that he downscaled from a full month to just 1 weekend. It's being described as the Pride, but like for people who aren't really fun to be around. Events at the Hetero Fest include a ham and cheese sandwich cook-off. Should be really fun. There's also a giveaway of the Book of Leviticus. And last but not least, there's a contest to see who can dial 911 first when they see a black person not bothering anyone.
Late last week, Nottoway House, a plantation resort in Louisiana, caught on fire. The fire was put out, and then the fire started again. And the whole thing burned to ashes. People in person and on social media and here in this audience were celebrating, saying that the ancestors finally got their Django moment. I gotta say, if the actual fires of hell had to come to the surface somewhere, you could do a lot worse than a plantation resort.
All right, let's talk about Walmart. All right, they're implementing changes to their self-checkout machines by adding a bright yellow belt to the card readers, and this is in order to prevent people from adding card skimming devices. Now, some people have been posting images of these, dubbing the new machines a chastity belt, which really seems to go against the brand, because when I hear Walmart, the last thing I think of is celibacy and restraint.
This past Thursday, there were tornadoes spotted as close as Caledonia. We know that this was serious because that annoying alarm was going off, and it wasn't even noon on a Friday. And Midwestern parents everywhere were sitting out on their porches much later than normal. But don't worry too much, there's some good news. Tinder is once again full of linemen as cleanup efforts begin.
That wasn't the end, that was just a good ding. All right, in other local news, the former owner of Leo's Seafood is facing charges for allegedly assaulting a man with a crowbar. This is like pretty serious, you guys. When deputies searched Leo Beal's vehicle, they found multiple knives, a revolver, and a shotgun. And Leo said that he brought the weapons for self-defense, of course, because, quote, every restaurateur knows you need to have a steak knife, a paring knife, a fish knife, and an oyster crowbar. But don't forget that you need a crab pistol and a lobster shotgun.
NewsFlash with bonus sports news. Kansas City Chiefs superfan Xavier Babadar, known to some fans as Chief Saholic, was sentenced to 32 years for committing 11 bank robberies in multiple states.
Damn.
The reason this story is under NewsFlash, of course, is that Xavier robbed one bank while wearing the semi-realistic wolf mask that he used to wear to Chief games. While he was on his way, even cosplaying Swifties are like, you need to calm down. I don't know how other furries are usually treated in prison, but I have a feeling that this guy will need to be isolated more than just every full moon.
Yup.
In comm news tonight, improv from two short groups. Woo! TCP Improv Level 6, aka Short Hiatus. Woo! And all the way from the Michigan-Indiana border, it's Short Run.
Woo! Yeah, and we also have stand-up from Brian Atkinson, Melissa Brandt, Jack Kunkanen, Joe Hillman, Sam Limon, Cheryl Stoner, and David Cheesebo. Plus our 4 lucky Powerball winners, which we're gonna pull from the thing
ceremoniously,
that's not here.
Because there were 4 entries and 4 winners, so woo!
Hey, if you wrote your name up there, then you come up here. And if you forgot, then you should go home.
We'd like to thank tonight's NewsFlash contributors. And if you'd like to write some jokes and see your name up here, you can submit your stories to comedyoutletmondays@gmail.com with the subject NewsFlash Tips.
That's right, and follow Comedy Outlet Mondays on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the socials, where you can rewatch videos from past shows, you'll get the lineups for future shows, and fill out the submission form to get on stage like we are right now, or learn about other ways to get involved.
And if that's not enough, you can hop up on stage at the end of the show during the free open improv jam. Or you can just hang out if you want to watch more show.
Woo! And now, Grand Rapids, you are very welcome. This
NewsFlash
is Comedy Outlet Mondays.